Hey guys, time for another video about old video games. This one is about Little Samson, a very valuable game these days because the run was so limited. This game came out in 1992 for the NES or the Famicom if you are in Japan, and what's unique about that is the simple fact that the Super NES or Super Famicom came out in 1990. So this game on the 8-bit NES console and platform came out 2 years after the subsequent system, the Super NES, came out. Now, why is that strange? Well, one, they didn't make many copies because they couldn't sell many because it was an old system, but also there was no backwards compatibility on these new systems. So they were making this hoping that somehow the old NES system owners who could not afford or had not upgraded to the Super NES system would basically go with this. It's a basic platformer. You have wall jumps as an option you see there. It's actually fairly innovative for the platform it's on. If it came out in 1987, it would have been huge, obviously, because of all the cool stuff you could do. But the funny thing about this was, because it was competing with other games for the Super NES, things like Street Fighter, Super Mario Kart, other options were out there, and it just couldn't keep up. The funny result of that is, quite simply, this game, if you can find one new in box, is quite valuable because it had a very limited run and it was a late, essentially, designed game for this system. It's very interesting, and it kind of shows what happens with these developers. Like when indie developers would do this, or what the equivalent of an indie developer was back then, like it was all or nothing. There was no backwards compatibility. There was no, hey, we can sell it on the next platform as a download. That was not an option. You were just kind of stuck with the end result, which was, hey, we didn't get a lot of sales because nobody has this system anymore, and they, instead of paying for our game, they'd rather like save up for the new system. To say nothing of the fact that, how are you going to advertise this? It looks cool for an 8-bit game in the 2026 kind of retro mindset, but back then, you're now competing with, I think, Street Fighter, again, Super Mario Kart, you have obviously Super Mario World, just way more intuitive, way more interesting, much more graphically enhanced. I mean, you're talking about doubling the capacity, going from 8-bit to 16-bit. It's actually a pretty extreme change. But that being said, this was pretty innovative. You see here, like, the physics engine on this is actually pretty innovative and complex for this time period. The notion of like this guy with his stretchy thing arms, like from the MCU. But again, it's just an example of what you do when you're just trying to make a game. This game might have been in production 4 years prior, and they've already kind of sunk cost into it. So what are they going to do? Just scrap the whole thing? Are they going to try to release this as is on a 16-bit player? Well, they can't really do that because everyone is expecting better quality, and it just was kind of a victim of timing. Overall, it's a really cool game, and if you can find an unopened copy, oh, you're going to make bank on eBay. But yeah, it's very rare. They didn't have a big production run, and it was one of the last games put on the NES or the Famicom system.